team that plays in an All-Ireland final, they have to be nervous to some degree.
I think it will be a very good football game. We're two footballing sides, and Mayo are a footballing side as well, so I think it's going to go well.
Mayo are better than Cork.
They're a grand football team, but there's something wrong with them that I just can't pick out, like, you know.
Mayo all going to come out winners on top.
Every team in a final has a 50-50 chance.
Well, it's the greatest pleasure of my life to see them back again. I've been waiting for so long. I was delighted, of course, when the 50 and 51 team came, but it's a long wilderness ever since then.
Cork are a good side, like, you know, there's no doubt about, no question of that. Like, you know, they've been there for the past 3 years, like, you know. They're a bit unlucky not to have won in All-Ireland, like, in those 2 or 3 years. But hopefully, they might lose another one.
This team is together a long time, and we tend not to panic.
Mayo, like I said, probably still have the best football to play at this year, you know. So I'm only hoping that we come up with the better football in the day.
But the pressure is really on them. We have nothing to lose. As I said, it's something new to us. But we're quite capable of playing well, and we always play well when we're underdogs, and it suits us fine.
They're feeling what we felt 2 years ago. So I think the pressure's on them now, where we're kind of season campaigners going to patrol Park again.
They're getting hyped up.
And the flags are coming out.
I'd say that'd be a huge crowd for Mayo and Croke Park. There's no question at all about it.
What about the ticket?
You know that. That's the problem.
Because they've experienced, they're a much better team, and I don't think Mayo have the class that Cork have.
Oh, it has lifted the whole county enormously. I mean, people all around Mayo now, they're feeling good. As I was telling yourself last night, it has just lifted everything. People just feel good. A county needs something like this every now and again.
Even though Cork lack the killer instinct, I still think they do. And having watched them training and having seen the last match against Dublin, I felt they should have put away Dublin.
I think it's the first time in years Mayo have a bit of pride in themselves. And they're a team that's not going to be beaten. They haven't been beaten all year, and they came back. How many replays? And they've showed a lot of confidence. We were beaten above Roscommon, we came back. So I think we have a great chance.
This year it's our turn, and Mayo haven't a hope. And as a matter of fact, I mean, you could tell the Mayo people to save their money not be travelling to Dublin.
Like a weekend out.
Well, that's what it will be for. A little holiday, a little weekend out to see a classic exhibition of football by the Cork footballers. If they're going for that, they'll get it.
Do you know Cork are playing in a big football game next week?
Yes, I did.
What game is it?
The soccer.
No.
Gaelic
football.
Gaelic football. Okay.
Their soccer team is playing
yeah,
in
I know they
Moscow.
played Germany. The hurling team played Germany yesterday.
I wonder where he's going to end up tomorrow afternoon. Well, it's Studio One. It's Saturday night, the eve of the All-Ireland football final, and this is, of course, the Final Prospects, our traditional live show aimed at getting you in the mood for this great sporting weekend. Well, a fortnight ago, we had the supporters of Tipperary and Antrim here with us, but tonight we welcome Cork to the studio for a third year in succession. The truth about it is that they never went home at all after last year. They're still sitting here staring, hopefully, at the Sam Maguire Cup. Well, we also welcome to the programme, and despite what one well-known Cork man suggested there, yes, they have travelled up, the supporters of Mayo. Now, it's been 38 years since the Mayo faithful have had cause to make this September journey, so I think that they won't even be too worried if it is a hurling match against West Germany. I know they're going to be delighted to be part of this special weekend. So, over the next hour or so, we hope to be sharing in their joy at being part of football's big occasion, their hopes and their aspirations, as well, of course, as those of Cork. Now, Cork this weekend will be hoping and praying that they don't become the first county since the war years to lose 3 All-Ireland finals in a row. More from Cork later, but I think tonight we should allow Mayo to kick the first ball, and just to show that despite what they say at times, yes, the West is awake.
All beside a vigil keep, the West asleep, the West asleep. Alas and well may Aaron weep when candle to light in slumber deep. from their lakes and plains, smile fair and free, mid rocks their guardian chivalry. Sing on, let man learn liberty from crashing wind and lashing sea. For often in O'Connor's band to triumph dashed each Connaught clan, and fleet as deer the Norns ran through Corsleaf Pass and Ardrahan, and later times saw deeds as brave for glory guards Clanrickard's grave. Sing on, they died their land to save from Aughrim snows to Shannon's waves. And if an old vigil keep the West asleep, the West asleep, alas and well, may Aaron weep that Connaught lies in slumber deep. But hark a voice like thunder spake, the West's awake, the West's awake. Sing oh, hurrah, let England quake. We'll watch till 10 for Erin's
Yes, indeed. Johnny McAvoy and at least half our studio audience in great singing voice tonight. Johnny, by the way, not a Mayo man himself, we must admit. Tomorrow, I'm sure that Johnny will be shouting for his native Offaly because they meet Derry in what should be a cracking minor final tomorrow. Offaly bidding to add the football title to the minor hurling title that they won a fortnight ago. Derry, of course, out to take at least one All-Ireland Championship North this summer. Well, more about that later, but in the meantime, well, this is the senior trophy, the Sam Maguire Cup. Now, I know that you probably knew that, but they haven't seen too much of the Sam down in Mayo these past 40 years, you know, so we thought that we'd let the Mayo people here in the audience tonight have a good look at it, just in case, you know, just in case. This All-Ireland final, as we said earlier, has been a long time coming for Mayo, and it's been a rocky road to Dublin for them this summer as well. It took Mayo 2 attempts to get past Galway in the Connacht semi-final, and then Roscommon proved even more difficult, this one going to a nail-biting replay in Roscommon.
Inside to Ray Dempsey with Matthew Riley. Still Dempsey, the 19-year-old. Frank Noonan in advanced spot right on the end line. Durkin, brilliant goal! Oh, a super goal by Noel Durkin.
A superb goal, and one that saved Mayo's bacon and helped take them to extra time against Roscommon. The champions were on the rack, but they were rallied by star forward Liam McHale, while the Mayo team manager John O'Mahony was determined that his side would fight back. Another half hour to go, Mayo responded superbly.
Whoever wins the Connacht title is going to have it well earned. Run forward by Brian Kilkelly. Can he make a difference? Into Willie Joe Patton. Finnerty. It's a goal by Anthony Finnerty. Kilkelly supplied the ammunition. Patton was there as well. It broke to Finnerty. He was being held, but he persisted, and that persistence paid off. And now Mayo have something to cheer about. The sides level again. Brian Kilkelly ambitiously down to Finnerty, who can finish it off now here. This is McHale. That's Jimmy Burke. Oh, he's missed it. And it somehow goes over the goal. Fetched beautifully by Finnerty. Added to McHale. Roscommon were weary and tired at the back. Burke was going in. Advancing, and finally it somehow trekked over the line, and Mayo have retained the title.
Next stop, Tyrone in the All-Ireland semi-final.
Fitzmaurice to take the 45. Noel Durkin looking for the equaliser, and it's there. Sides on level terms with 8 minutes remaining. Noel Durkin's first point. He's the first forward to get a point from play. The fans living on their nerves. McStay into the path of Noel Durkin. Trying to go round John McGoldrick. A lazily struck pass outside. That seems to be Dermot Flanagan. No, it's not. It's Kilkelly. And it's gone over the bar. It's Brian Kilkelly who puts Mayo into a 1-point lead. His first point of the match. 10 points to 1-6. That's 10 points to 9. What a vital point that would be. He was the player who set up the Anthony Finnerty goal in the Mayo final replay, I seem to recall, just, what was it, 2 weeks ago.
Two things I think may inspire Mayo now. The return after stitching of Willie Joe Patton and the brilliant goalkeeping by Gabriel Irwin.
Here's McStay. Steadying himself. Oh, doing well. From the tightest of angles. Not leaving too much margin for error, but Kevin McStay has got his first point of the afternoon. It comes to Liam McHale. He'll hold it up now, about 50 metres out from his own goal, belting it down towards Jimmy Burke. Hasn't been too much in the action, but if he can hold it up now, that'll be enough. This is Fitzmaurice. There's players in support. Fitzmaurice going it alone. His confidence high, and he's put it over the bar. 6 points for Michael Fitzmaurice. That's the first from play. He's a real hero now, with 3 points between the teams.
Yes, that was the kind of scoring that put smiles on the faces of Mayo people everywhere. There was nearly as much cheering in the studio audience here tonight as there was at the match originally. Did you enjoy that? Yeah. Well, I know another person that put a smile on the face of, and that was the Mayo County Secretary, John Prenty. And John is with us here in the studio tonight. John, you're very welcome.
Thank you very much, Mike.
Have you any tickets?
No tickets.
No, John. All I need is one. I mean, there must be one going.
The only ticket I could give you now, Michael, is one to get in here tonight.
Well, let me tell you, they're nearly as scarce, or were nearly as scarce as All-Ireland tickets, and I must say thank you for everybody who wrote in and expressed an interest, but unfortunately we couldn't look after all of you. Studio One, I'm afraid, is a little bit smaller than Croke Park. John, is the demand for tickets as bad in Mayo as what we hear?
Yes, there has been a huge demand for tickets in Mayo. In the last 3 weeks, people have been searching the highways and the byways for tickets. Unfortunately, all of them couldn't get them. If we had 68,000 tickets, we could have filled Croke Park tomorrow.
Look after them all.
Yeah.
I can't help noticing, by the way, John, that you're wearing a red tie tonight in honour of the Cork people. So that was a very decent gesture.
Most people that know me know that I rarely wear a tie at all. So Frank Murphy gave me the loan of his.
John, from what we hear, the atmosphere in Mayo coming up to this All-Ireland final has been quite incredible. Can you give us some flavour of what it's like down there?
Yes, everywhere you go there are flags and bunting and teddy bears, and the streets are all decked out. In Ballina, there's one public house has been painted green and red, and the names of the 1936 team, the 1950 and 51, and the present team have been painted on the wall. So that's
hopeful at least.
Well, that's been optimistic and confident for tomorrow. In Ballahazreen, they've got a banner up that says, "The last one out, turn off the lights." And the first one back, light the fire.
Okay, John Fenty, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, John. Well, now, the manager of any team is the person who gets most of the praise when things are going well for the side, and, of course, most of the abuse when they've been beaten. Well, the Mayo manager, John O'Mahony, is, I'm sure, fully aware of the hero or villain tags awaiting for him at Croke Park tomorrow afternoon. Now, so far, his charge of the Mayo team has brought him nothing but credit, because under his guidance, they've won 2 Connacht titles back-to-back for the first time since the early 50s, and, of course, have now made the big breakthrough into the All-Ireland final. But now that they've gotten there, can Mayo pull it off? Well, this is what John thinks.
We're just, we realise that we're not going to be favourites going into the match. We fully respect Cork and so on. But having said that, we're going up we're going up to win the match, and we're going with our best foot forward, and we're going to give it everything we have. To a certain extent, all the pressure is on Cork. It's their 3rd in a row, and I think at this stage, all the Cork supporters must be demanding success from that team, and that's an ideal situation for us. We're delighted, and the players are delighted that we have given the public of Mayo a lift right throughout the world. If there was any one factor that stood out with this team this year is its resilience. I've talked about it earlier before now, and I think in each match right through the championship that has come out. Against Galway in the first match, we were 8 points to 2 down, and we came back to draw. And against Roscommon in the first Connacht final, we were down and we came back, and we came back from a last-minute penalty against us in the replay. So it is a team of comebacks, but we're hoping that we'll be in front, maybe, that we won't have to come from behind against Cork. I saw them in the semi-final against Dublin, and a lot of people were not that impressed with them, but I certainly was, and I thought they showed great maturity in coming back from what was a difficult position, from being 1-4 down, and they have been through it all, so they certainly are a mature team. I think they have learned from the last 3 years, and they will be a difficult team to beat.
John O'Mahony, the Mayo manager. Well, John was only a very small boy, and in fact, none of the Mayo players were even a twinkle in their father's eyes when the county last won their All-Ireland. Now, those were very prominent years for the green and red on the All-Ireland stage. They lost, of course, the 1948 final to Cavan. They were the beaten semi-finalists in 49. But then came their 2 years of glory, 50 and 51.
The active Tom Langan gets the ball in his hand and presses his way through for a goal that does much to put his county on the road to victory. The pace is really hot now, the football close and keen. Tegar a wee o gimbert ní spara ma dacasol, it's more than yet the big winter no me force. A strong Meath attack is repelled by Sean Flanagan, whose clearance is picked up by Meath's centre-field man Des Taft, and he makes no mistake. But Mayo returned to the attack, and despite the resistance of Kevin McConnell, Pádraig Kearney, the Mayo man of the match, scores from a free. It's still a Western offensive, but it's without reward at first. Brian Smith and Paddy Meegan are in the thick of the fray, as always. And now for the movement that brings Mayo's second goal, as Dixon passes to Sean Mulderrig. He gets the ball through to Joe Gilvary, and he sends through his goal to make the half-time score. Mayo, 2 goals and 3 points. Meath, 8 points. The second half is on with the writing on the wall as far as Meath are concerned. But with that undying spirit, they refuse to read it, and despite further arrears, come battling back. Yes, it's Mayo's day of victory, for playing with greater speed and dash than in any earlier championship tie. They dominate the plucky and always battling Meath men. This looks like a Mick Flanagan goal, but no, it's just barely wide. Here they come again. Flanagan beats Micheál O'Brien, passes to the centre, and he's there to take it himself. Up goes the mighty Paddy O'Brien, and down he goes. But did he fall, or was he pushed? It's homeward bound for hundreds now, even before the final whistle. And when this does go, it's a signal for the crowds to surge onto the field to cheer the victors. And while praising the winners, let us not forget the great sportsman of Meath, defeated yet honoured too. While on the Hogan stand, Mr. Vin Donoghue, a vice president of the GAA, presents the Sam Maguire Cup to Sean Flanagan. And as the crowds look on, the Mayo officials are happy with the smiles of victory.
Yes. Did he fall or was he pushed? And I'm sure that question will be asked a lot of times over the weekend in relation to tomorrow's match. Well, after those victories of 50 and 51, of course, Mayo people were entitled to think that there would be great days ahead for the county into the 50s and the 60s. But the truth of it is, of course, they didn't win another All-Ireland. Not a single All-Ireland in the years in between. But as Liam O'Neill down here will testify, Galway won a few in the meantime, Liam, of course.
3, Michael.
Well, now, because of that, I suppose, the men of 50 and 51 have gone into the annals of legend in Mayo's sporting history. We're delighted that some of that team is with us here tonight, and included amongst them is Father Peter Quinn. Peter, you're very, very welcome indeed. Peter has travelled all the way from Florida, I think, isn't it, to be with us, and you have somebody minding the shop for you at home.
Well, Des, my brother, Father Des, he's on his way to the Philippines. He's, by the way, he's on the hit list, if you know. But he's filling in for me there. I don't know if my bishop knows it, but I think Bishop Finnegan has given me the okay here to be here. So it's great to be back, huh?
Well, when the videos get back to the States, you know about it then anyway, so you could be in hot water after that. Also with us tonight, ladies and gentlemen, another member of that team, Eamon Mongie. Eamon, you're very welcome indeed. Michael. The pressure of All-Ireland weekend as we know it in the 80s, the media, the attention, etc. and so forth, I'm sure it was a little bit different in those times. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Well, it was, I suppose, in one sense, there was no television there, but there was still the same enormous hype, because once a county like Mayo gets into an All-Ireland final, everything moves in the county, and everything generally moves towards Cork Park. The press used to come down to see us, and obviously when we were training, but as far as radio is concerned, not that to that extent. But we were kept really quiet. We were moved out to very quiet hotels, and we played pitch and putt, and anything that would contaminate the mind was kept entirely away from us. Married men were sent home and things like that.
They were sent home for the weekend to sort of enjoy themselves.
From that point of view, yeah. But there was an enormous tape, and I can still see one particular occasion, just to give you an idea of what the atmosphere at Mayo at the time was. Yeah. Going around Cork Park on the day, and the Mayo people virtually with tears in their eyes. And there was one lady who recognised John Ford, John being a very distinguished Mayoman, and she said, "Look at me, Johnny. Look at me, Johnny." And that's all she wanted, that a man would look at her. Well, a particular man, I should say, a particular man. That was before John was married as well.
Well, I'm sure there will be a lot of people saying this weekend, "Look at me, Willie Joe, look at me, Willie Joe." Ladies and gentlemen, Eamon Mongie and Father Peter Quinn. Thank you very much. Quickly sits down in chair. Well, next we turn to two other Mayo men with perhaps a different perspective on this weekend's final. So would you welcome, please, Michael O'Malley, who is the Mayo County Manager. And now that's actually the manager of the county, as distinct, of course, from the football team. And we also have John Healy, who is actually John Healy, the well-known journalist. Would you welcome them, please, ladies and gentlemen? Mick, we were talking early on about all the Mayo people coming up to Dublin for the weekend. Emigration in Mayo has been a big problem down through the years, but I suppose none more so than this particular weekend.
Well, everything that moves in Mayo is up here at the moment.
Including the statues?
Including the statues. Everything that moves is up here. And they're up here, of course, with one purpose, and that is to show their solidarity behind the Mayo team. And could I take the opportunity to send a message, a sincere message to John O'Mahony and to the team, and that is to assure them of the way we are all behind them, the way we want to have them have confidence in themselves, that kind of confidence that's going to start putting the ball over the bar very early tomorrow from 35 yards out, 40 yards out and 25 yards out, and the goals are cut.
I know that a lot of the Mayo team are probably watching the programme tonight, so lads, the pressure is on now. 35, 40 hours out, that's what's required. John Healy, the other side of it is, apart from the immigration out of Mayo, this weekend a lot of Mayo people have come back because there was an estimation that there was 10,000 expats back from England and America. Now, it may not be as many as that, but it could be 5. So that gives another dimension to things. They've come without tickets, of course.
I think you'll probably find that Knock Airport had its biggest week. Its business for the first 7 months to this year is up 44%. And you know, when they land at Sam Maguire tomorrow night in the Old Town, it's going to be great.
That would be nice over there. You might even have the Pope as well going back down.
No, we won't bother with the Pope. One short of time.
He's in second place for this weekend behind Sam anyway.
Right.
Mick, do you think the footballers are going to win tomorrow? Seriously?
I really do, yeah. I really do. This team, you know, one thing has happened to this team, and that is the confidence that has been built up. And that confidence will overcome that horrible hour that there is always before coming out onto the field. The way in which John O'Mahony, people don't realise how good a trainer, how good a manager this fella is. He has protected those players. He hasn't allowed the hype to get at them. There's plenty of hype, which is great, I think. I think it's a wonderful thing.
It certainly is. John Healy, you wrote a book, of course, some years ago, and a very well-known book, 19 Acres. You might be writing another one about maybe a few smaller acres around Jones's Road after this weekend.
Well,
it would be nice.
Yeah, the history of Mayo football is easily written at the moment. We might have one spanking new chapter tomorrow. I think we will. I think that, as Mick says, take the points from out the field. Goals happen. And we saw a few of them happen there. Goals happen. Don't try walking them in. It doesn't work. And you know, everybody says Cork is top dog. I remember a lot of top dogs in my day that I saw fall. And some of them, and Mayo was a top dog in 1949 in the semi-final. All the dailies said, no way it was Anthony Wilkinson. And yet, you know, they fell to Meath in the semi-final. That's right. And it took them the year to come back, but they came back.
Well, I'll tell you what, I give John O'Mahony a ring, and if he needs any help for the team over the weekend, John, yourself and Mick, you're in. Ladies and gentlemen, John Healy and Mick O'Malley. Right now then, it's time for us to take a break, but still to come on the programme we have a song from Cork, a look back at their last All-Ireland success and the latest news from both camps. So please do join us again in a few minutes. Thank you. One of the most exciting aspects of All-Ireland final weekend is the departure of the rival teams from their native counties for the big match. It's a time when they set out full of hopes and dreams, a little apprehension too perhaps, but always carrying the best wishes of their supporters with them on their journey into the unknown. Now for Mayo it's a particularly special weekend of course, and they've decided to do it in style. For Cork, well, there was a familiar feel to their setting out by train earlier today from the south, but no less of a thrill for all that, as George Hamilton can testify.
This is Kent Station, Cork, traditional departure point for Cork All-Ireland teams. On their way to glory, well, the last two occasions have brought nothing but losers' medals, but they're determined that 1989 is going to be the year that Sam makes it back to Cork. Do you have a ticket for this train?
I do, I just got one there.
Thank you. How are you feeling now?
Not too bad, not too bad. Relaxing, you know, looking forward to it. If we get a good start at all, our experience, we've been in Croke Park now 5 or 6 times in the last 3 years, you know. Hopefully it's down to us anyhow.
Are you able to enjoy the weekend?
You are, especially afterwards if we win, you know, but hopefully, like the last 2 years, we didn't enjoy after Friday, you know. But we'll try and make amends for that, anyway.
Thanks very much.
You're no stranger in Kent Station, Mr. Morgan.
That's for the last month or two, anyway.
Do you feel any more pressure this time?
Not really. We're used to it at this stage, our third year up. Funnily enough, I feel exactly as I felt in 1973 when I was going, and I was just talking to Donny Donovan before I came out, and we just spoke about 73 and our feelings and that, and I feel just like that now.
In good form?
In good form, yeah, looking forward to it very much.
Over 30 years ago, a famous Mayo footballer called Pádraig Kearney was flown home from his medical practice in America to assist his native county on the playing field. He was called the Flying Doctor, and that was big news then. But only one man flying then. Right now, the whole team is flying to try and bring back the biggest prize in Gaelic football. And this county of Mayo has gone football mad. And why not? They've waited 38 years to get their hands on the Sam Maguire Cup.
I think this team is something special. There's a tremendous pride in this team. There's a tremendous resilience in this team. This team doesn't know how to lose, doesn't know when to say die. I think you can see that spirit as we've seen it out there a few minutes ago throughout the county. There's no way we're going to lose tomorrow.
Every town, every village, every hamlet in Mayo has out the bunting, the flags and the banners, the farewell to the team as they leave Knock, and they hope the big celebrations on Monday and thereafter.
Well, we're going to win because this team this year in particular has a tremendous belief in itself. I think that we're not just saying that. The evidence is there on the field in all the matches, and it'll be there again tomorrow.
I'm saying definitely. I have never been as convinced before of winning a game. I think we will win this one, yes.
You know what the two Johns said? You're going to win, definitely.
That's what you mean.
Yes, and the camera crew told me that when they were down filming that piece a little bit earlier on, they met a fella on a bicycle cycling up to Dublin. I don't know how true that is. But you know, there's really so much that goes into All-Ireland final weekend for the participating counties, making sure that all the arrangements have been made, that everyone is where they're supposed to be, when they're supposed to be. But of course, it's also a big, big weekend for the GAA itself. And my next guest will certainly testify to that. That's Liam Mulvihill, the Director General of the Association. Liam, you're very welcome indeed. When you came on here a moment ago, you got a very, very great round of applause from everybody because they reckon that you, above anybody, are the man with the tickets. Who wants a ticket? Anybody for a ticket?
It appears, Michael, that I must have given tickets to everybody in the audience.
maybe that's what it is, Liam. Now, there was an item on the news earlier on today talking about the safety standards and measures at Croke Park tomorrow, that you have increased those. And obviously something like that is a very big concern of yours on All-Ireland final weekend.
Well, recent events have brought home to all of us the dangers when you have a very large crowd. And while the Gaelic games and especially our All-Ireland finals have tended to be very well conducted and our crowds have been very sporting, at the same time we all can learn from what happens on other occasions and in other countries, and we have taken a number of measures that we feel will make Croke Park a safer place and make our games more enjoyable for everybody. Some of those measures can be implemented immediately. Some of them are more long-term, of course, and we have been announcing plans over the last 12 months or so, but it will take some time to put those into effect. But overall, even before the events in other countries, we have been aware of the fact that it is necessary to upgrade our facilities to make them safer and more enjoyable for everyone.
I think I should say at this stage that a little bit earlier in the summer I was down, well, I've been down lots of times, of course, to Croke Park over the summer, but I went down and paid a little visit to the Hill, and I must say the GAA have done a marvellous job on Hill 16. It's a really lovely place. I know most of the people in the audience will be in the stands, of course, tomorrow, but you've done a great job on the Hill. It's been fabulous. Which brings us to the point, I suppose, Liam, that these days everybody wants to sit in a seat. Everybody wants to be in the stand. How far away are we from an all-seat or Croke Park?
I would say within possibly 20 years.
That long?
Yes, I would say it will take that long because there is a great tradition on the Hill especially, but I think the rest of the stadium, I could see it seated within 10 years, and certainly that is the trend, and that's what we're planning to do. But there is something special about the Hill, and I can see the GAA retaining the Hill as a terrace for as long as possible.
The Hill will be there for quite a while, I think, come hell or high water. It certainly will. Liam Mulvihill, thank you very much indeed. Earlier on in the programme, we saw how Mayo made their way to this year's All-Ireland final. But now let's take a look at the Cork side of it. Now, for them, the path was slightly shorter, but then they were thrown in at the deep end against the old enemy Kerry in Killarney. On their way to Killarney, Cork had picked up the National League title earlier in the year. But since that victory over Dublin, the Corkmen had lost Coleman Corrigan and Niall Cahalane. It was clear the visit to Killarney was going to be a testing one.
And as always, the different nations of the world, it seems, support Cork when they play in a Munster Championship final. The Cork huddle, and Coleman Corrigan is the one, and Niall Cahalane, they're the ones who are saying, come on, you can do it for us, I'm sure is what they're saying. That's Timmy Fleming back there. Loose clearance, however, straight to Larry Tompkins. And Cork punish it. Larry Tompkins' first point. Here's Kerrigan. Into space towards Dilly Allen. Taking it down with poise. Turning to face Ambrose O'Donovan. Getting it onto the right boot to give Cork the lead. 5 points to 4. The Munster champions ease into a 1-point advantage. Coffey's free quickly into John O'Driscoll. Unmarked. Oh, it's a goal! A goal by John O'Driscoll. Now he had to go around the defender and back again. But watch as he struggled to get away, get a bit of freedom. And what a good finish, high into the corner. Nelligan was powerless. Cork, a younger and fresher team it seems. Laced with skill. Barry to Cleary. And the finish perfect. A free which will take some of the pressure off the Cork rearguard taken by Tompkins to the unmarked Teddy McCarthy. Lining up his pass inside to John O'Driscoll. That goal really was crucial before half-time. It set Cork up, and O'Driscoll adds to it now. That's a goal and a point by the gallant Colin Geary man.
A rare achievement by Cork, a third Munster title in a row. In the All-Ireland semi-final, they faced a revitalised Dublin side, hoping to reverse that league final result of earlier in the year.
Teddy McCarthy under it, so too is John O'Driscoll, and it doesn't count, it's a penalty. The referee is giving a penalty to Cork, the goal doesn't count. 21 minutes gone. O'Leary faces John Cleary from the penalty. Expertly put away. There was a confidence and authority in the way he struck that penalty. Cork right back in the match. Dave Barry. Towards John O'Driscoll, nothing quite going right. Their method not on song at the moment. Teddy McCarthy had made a good run forward into a full forward position, but the ball just didn't reach him. That's Dave Foran. Down towards Mick Galvin. The greater directness is coming from Dublin. And that's Paul Clark ankle tapping John Cleary. The referee allowed an advantage. It reaches Teddy McCarthy inside the 45-metre line. Dave Barry here. On the right boot. And John O'Leary lets it bounce. Oh, this could be serious. Paul McGrath. Oh, an amazing incident. It's a penalty. It's another penalty. This one, with 31 minutes gone in the first half, can tie up the scores. He's scored!
And despite the fact that they won, there's still people in the studio audience shouting, "Free out, ref." Well, earlier we spoke to the Mayo County Secretary, John Prenty, and now we do the same with the Cork Secretary, and indeed one of the best-known officials within the GAA, that's Frank Murphy. Frank, you're very welcome to the programme. One aspect to Cork and my own county, Galway, that I note is that when the football is up, the hurling is down. The hurling is down, the football is up. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think this is coincidental, really, Michael. I suppose not surprising when you think that over the last, say, quarter of a century, only two counties have been representative in the same year in both All-Irelands. And just about 1/3 of the counties have contested the football, and a quarter have contested the hurling in, say, the last 20 years. And insofar as Cork is concerned, I suppose, looking back, we had a great run of success in hurling. Starting with, say, from the time that Tipperary won the 1971 Munster and All-Ireland title, Cork went on to win 12 of the next 15 Munster championships. Now, for the first time ever, we have won 3 Munster football titles in a row, and we are confident, but not overconfident, that we will be All-Ireland champions tomorrow. And turning to the hurling, Jim Barry, Lord of mercy on him, great Cork trainer, used to say that of Cork hurlers that they were like mushrooms. They would come up overnight. So beware Tipperary.
Beware Tipperary. Okay. Question for you, Frank. If you lose tomorrow, is it going to be a disaster for Cork football? Are you going to then go down again?
Well, the same question was posed last year when we were defeated following 3 All-Ireland finals in 2 years with Meath. But I think the team showed great character in the way it has come back to win the National League, to win a record-breaking for us, 3 in a row of Munster titles. And I feel very confident, you know, that that character will be shown to best effect tomorrow, and that we won't be considering the question of a defeat. We are very confident that our ability. I know that John O'Mahony was telling us during the week that Cork may have a fear of losing. We haven't. We are approaching the game on the basis that we have the ability to win. And we feel that ability will be shown to good effect in Croke Park tomorrow.
Well, it remains to be seen. Ladies and gentlemen, Frank Murphy. Well, now, earlier also we spoke to the Mayo-manager, John O'Mahony, but the man who has taken Cork to the brink of All-Ireland glory over the past 3 years is Billy Morgan. Now, strangely enough, Cork's football revival has coincided in the south with the re-emergence of Tipperary in hurling. Well, a fortnight ago, Tipperary were rewarded for 3 years of hard effort in the championship, and I'm sure that Billy Morgan is hoping for a similar award tomorrow.
Ourselves and Tipperary have started to run similar courses over the last 3 years. I would think there was actually more pressure probably on Tipperary than there might be on us, because they were so much overwhelming favourites against Antrim. Whereas we might be favourites against Mayo, but not to the same extent. There is a maturity about the team this year, which wasn't there over the last couple of years, and it's only something that you gain by experience. There is very little talk about an All-Ireland final. It's just that we're playing Mayo. Before the Dublin game and the Kerry game, there was a lot of tension around, you know, that appears to have disappeared, and there's more a buzz about them in training. Even though we tried to put it aside, there was an awful lot of talk about this 3 in a row Munster titles, which had never been done before. Also the fact going to Croke Park that we had never beaten Dublin in a championship, and Dublin hadn't been beaten in a semi-final since 1965, put a lot of pressure on the team. But I thought that they handled it well, you know, particularly when they were 7 points down, to hold their heads and come back. We played Mayo 3 times in the last year, and in fact lost all 3 games. They beat us in the league last October and beat us in 2 challenge games earlier this year. So to say, have the sort of Indian sign over us at the present.
Yes, Billy Morgan, the cautious Cork manager. Well, it's music time once again, and this time it's a song from Cork. And I can tell you, no, it's not By the Banks, because we'll be hearing plenty of impromptu versions of that, no doubt, over the next 24 hours or so. Our next group released a record last year called The Ballad of Larry Tompkins. You may have heard. Did you buy it yourselves? They'll buy it tomorrow if they win, I can tell you. But tonight, they're going to sing about some other Cork heroes, the Boys of Fairhill. Here's Reardon's Fancy.
The smell on Patrick's bridge is wicked.
Holders for a matches ticket.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. The Blackpool girls are very rude.
She goes swimming in the Nude.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. The Blackpool girls are good and tall.
Up begin the Sunbeam Wall.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. Well, if you want to join our club,
come right down to Whelan's pub.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. Well, they sell rashers and machines,
Murphy's Stout and Pig's Cool Bean.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. Down in Blackrock there is no law.
The next door neighbours and Igor.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. In Churchfield and Grown abroad,
the girls they are very Grover.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. Well, Devil Air across the foam,
just to kiss the Blarney Stone.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. Well, Blackrock Castle stands up straight,
the river Lee flows underneath.
Here's up the mall, says the Boys of Fairhill. The Rockies thought they were the stars,
till they met with St. Finbarrs.
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. The blardy hens are no use at all.
When they lay them small.
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. Well, Maggie Barry made two beans.
Fairly bursting at the seams.
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. Well, Dinny Allen cooked the ball.
He who bar ball and all.
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. The boys in Cork won't harm you.
The girls, they will charm you, boy.
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. The boys in Cork are very nice.
I've tried them once or twice.
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. Well, Cork footballers are a treat.
The Mayo team are going to beat.
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. The smell on Patrick's Bridge is wicked.
How does foreign matches stick?
Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill. Here's up them all, said the boys of Fairhill.
Yes, Reardon's fancy there, ladies and gentlemen. Now, I might just mention that one member of the group, Eddie Quinlan, who was playing the tinned whistle there, has just come back from his honeymoon. So congratulations to Eddie and his new bride. (1973), I remember it well. Cork's last All-Ireland Championship success, and there I was, sitting up on the top deck of the Cusick stand, watching them go through poor old Galway for a shortcut. And to make it worse, they were doing it with a bunch of hurlers. There was Dennis Colan, Ray Cummins, and of course the skin-headed Jimmy Barry Murphy.
The tail on it to the left, but it's going to be kept in play. It's hitting up front. It's a goal! It's a goal! And Jimmy Barry Murphy! Jimmy Barry Murphy! Into the centre, and this is Dennis Colan from Dennis Long. Dennis Colan, a lovely one, and it's over the bar! And here's Morgan Hughes. Still Morgan out to the wing to Colin McDonough. Colin racing out to him. Brian Murphy out after him. Colin's got it now. Working his way through into the centre. A lobbing ball in, and Billy Morgan in possession. Billy Morgan chest high to the ball and getting it out. Right foot it down into the centre of the field. Donald Hunt. And Jimmy Barrett. Jimmy, who seems to be everywhere. Right through the centre to Ray Cummins. Ray Cummins now up and on the wing to Jimmy Barry Murphy. Jimmy Barry on the 14. What's he going to do? A goal! And here's Joe Waldron. Joe Waldron coming up the field for Galway. Where did it go? It's Nickland Barron. Oh, the ball screwing off Willie Joyce's boot. Back to Dennis Long. Dennis in towards the goal mouth, and it is Jimmy Barrett. And he got a goal. He got a goal, and the referee has allowed the goal. The crowd coming in, storming in to Jimmy Barrett, and I don't think the final whistle is gone. The crowd are in to cheer off. Yes, it is. It's gone now, all right. The referee has said, what's the use? He blows the whistle. Time is up. Cork have won the All-Ireland. 3 goals and 17 points to Galway's 2 goals and 13.
Yes, I'll tell you, if the Galway defenders could have tackled Jimmy Barrett as well as some of the Cork supporters running in, then the result of that match might have been a bit different. Well, that 73 team was captained by the present manager, Billy Morgan, but spearheaded an attack by Ray Cummins, and Ray is with us tonight. You're very welcome, Ray. I should also say that, Ray, you have not come alone tonight because you've brought some of that 73 team with you, and they're down in our audience here. You might just point
I have
them
a
out.
very good backup team, Michael. There's Dennis Long on the left, Connie Hartnett, John Coleman, Kevin Gerald Sullivan, and Frank Hogan, who was man of the match on that day, in fact.
On that day. Well, gentlemen, you're all very welcome. One thing that just occurs to me, you know, looking back at that clip of the 73 match, have you seen that film before? Have you kept a video of it?
I haven't actually kept a video of it, but in the past 2 weeks, Frank Hogan and myself studied it very carefully. Frank, as you know, is a mature to the team this year.
Yes.
Helping out John Cronin. So it was, you know, a long stretch, but it was nice to see it after, what is it, 15 years.
Yeah, do you think the present team have been looking at it for a bit of inspiration or something like that?
I think they have their own inspiration rather than looking back in the past, I think.
Are they going to win tomorrow, do you think, Ray?
I'm optimistic, Michael, not overconfident. I think they've learned how hard it is to win in All-Ireland in the last 2 years, and I've no doubt that they'll give it their best shot tomorrow.
Well, Ray, it's great to see yourself and the other members of the 73 team with us here tonight, and thank you very much for joining us. So then, let's move forward again to the present day. And when we left Cork and Mayo, they were heading out on their journey for Dublin. Well, they have arrived and are now safely ensconced in their respective headquarters, and George Hamilton and Jimmy McGee are there.
For Cork, the journey to Dublin was luxurious, good-humoured and relaxed. They had at their disposal Éireann Road Éireann's executive coach. The miles went simply slipping by. Dinny Allen exemplified the good-humoured nature of the Cork players on their way to this third All-Ireland in a row.
I'm out about 40 pence in this car game, so this is the main worry I have at the moment.
It's taking your mind off things, is it?
Yeah, I think it's very relaxed. This week has been very relaxed with the players, you know, and this has been a help. I've been in 2 All-Irelands already, you know, so it's a bit tense, all right, but not that bad.
A lot has been made about the fact that, like myself, you are approaching 40 from the wrong end. That's wrong.
Well, I met Oisin there a couple of years, and he took me to 2-0 for about 6 or 7 years, so I spent... But I hope I won't fall off the horse until about 5 or 6 o'clock tomorrow.
You reckon you're all right for another 70
I get about
minutes?
70 minutes out of it now, it's all right, yeah.
A little under 3 hours later, and the Cork team was in Houston Station, embarking on the last leg of its journey to a secret destination in the capital tonight.
It's not all going by air from Mayo to the match. Not even by train, not even by car. Where's this man going? From Ballina. Where are you from? Ballina. Ballina. I'm Jimmy. How are you? I know you. Are you going to Croke Park? Yeah. Why did you go by train or plane? From Dublin now by bike. How long will that take?
I'll be in around 4:30, the West County.
Good luck to you.
If you're here Monday evening, we'll be happier.
Well, here we are at Dublin, all arrived safe and sound. The Mayo body soaring high today with Ryanair, and the spirits high as well. Still under the protective wing here of the manager, John O'Mahony, keeping them away from the media, and it seems to be paying off. The spirits, too, are sky high. This time tomorrow, we'll know the real story, but certainly, for want of trying, Mayo will not be found wanting, but then they never have.
Yeah, there's a great attitude, a very good, calm, positive attitude. We're going up to win. We're doing our best. A lot of hype in the county, but we're doing our best not to be affected negatively by it. Everybody's enjoying it, really. You know, we're going to have a good weekend.
You see, I told you about the fella on the bike. I was often wondering whatever did happen to Eddie the Eagle. So, Cork and Mayo then are all set for their big day. But it's a big day too, we must remember, for the miners of Offaly and Derry, who are also chasing All-Ireland honours at Croke Park this weekend. Offaly's last minor victory was in 1964, but I'm sure they're hoping to emulate the success of their minor hurling team of a fortnight ago. This is how Offaly and Derry reached this year's decider. On the day that Mayo qualified for their first senior final since the 50s, Derry scored an impressive victory over Roscommon in the minor semi-final. It took Derry some time to settle into their stride in the game, and in actual fact they trailed by a point at half-time. But they were a different proposition altogether in the second half, taking total control of the game at midfield, where John Mulholland and Anthony Tohill came into their own. But that freed up their forwards to get into full flight against a hard-pressed Roscommon defence, and by the end of the half, Derry had added 4 goals and 9 points to their overall total, giving them a runaway 18-point victory and into their first minor final since 1983. There were no goals in the Offaly-Kerry semi-final, but an emphatic victory for Offaly nonetheless. Kerry fought a brave battle against the wind in the first half, but ironically they fared worse with the advantage of the breeze on the restart, Sean Grennan proving a huge influence for Offaly at midfield. Offaly were forced to make a substitution early in the second half, but with players like Bernard O'Brien at midfield now tearing into the Kerry man, Even the loss of the influential centre-back Finbar Cullen was not going to halt the boys from the Midlands. Alan Hogan proved to be Offaly's top scorer on the day, and his total of 5 points helped his team to a 6-point victory in the end, 14 points to 8. And on that note, we must wrap up our preview programme of this year's football final. Well, we're off now to grab a few drinks, a few hours sleep, before tomorrow's hectic day at Croke Park, although I'm not too sure if everybody here is going straight home. But for RTE viewers, the activity begins tomorrow at 12:45 on RTE1 with a build-up to the big games, leading up to the minor match at 1:30, and then the meeting of Cork and Mayo at 3:30. And as usual, the Sunday game on All-Ireland night will have not only highlights of the big match, but reports from the winners and losers camps, and our live phone-in at 616-000. That's our number to ring, and those lines will be open from tea time tomorrow. Well, also tomorrow night, of course, the presentation of the Man of the Match trophy for the '89 final. Well, it promises to be a marvellous day's sporting entertainment, and I hope that if you're not actually going to the game, that you will join us here on RTE. But from all of us in the studio tonight, bye-bye to you.
For these 20 years and more, we have waited by the phone, but now the Mayo ship is set to sail. With great hope and expectation, Dublin is our destination, and soon our cup of joy will overflow. So come on, Willie Joe and Kilgallen from the road, Dermot Flanagan and John Maher and John Finn. Jimmy Brown will light the fire and we'll take the Sam Maguire. John O'Mahony's men are really on the move. Now McCarthy Cups we have a lot, but Sam Maguires are few. We have the men who change all that. It's Tompkins and his crew. Let's cheer the lads up in Croke Park in the All-Ireland final game. They're the shot